Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to bring this bill before the full committee this morning, the first appropriations of the bill of the year, and we're the lead-off hitter and today's opening day. So the Military Construction, VA, and Related Agencies Bill provides generously for our service members, our veterans, their families, and our monuments and cemeteries. Chairman Rogers and Mrs. Lowy have been steadfast in their support and interest in this bill, and we appreciate their leadership on veterans and military issues, as well as the allocation of $81.6 billion, almost $1.8 billion over the fiscal year 2016 level, which allowed us to accomplish a tremendous amount this year. So I certainly appreciate the participation of the subcommittee members, both sides of the aisle, as we consider priorities and funding levels for important programs in the bill. Our subcommittee ranking member, Mr. Bishop, is truly a great partner and friend in all the work of this subcommittee and in conducting meaningful oversight. So thank you, Sanford, for all your good work. And I'd also like to pause and recognize a longtime member of this subcommittee, Sam Farr, who is leaving us to retire to the beautiful California coast. Sam has served our subcommittee since 1999, making him the longest-serving member of this subcommittee. He's been responsible for some really great ideas, to be honest, fueled by creative thinking and elbow grease, and as you know, he's extremely engaged. One example is the Monterey model, which has become the benchmark in developing public-private partnerships between the military and surrounding community to deal with base closures. Through it all, his dedication to our veterans and servicemen and women has been unwavering. So, Sam, thank you for your extraordinary service, and we also extend that thanks to your staff, too, especially Debbie Merrill, who I know is here, who has worked MilCon and VA issues since the beginning. So thank you, and we'll be thinking of you, too, on the 4th of July every year, which I understand is your birthday. And so I should also note that also happens to be the date of the death of both Presidents Adams and Jefferson in 1826. They died on the same day. Just a fun fact. So congratulations on your retirement. I'd also like to thank I'd also like to thank some of the staff who helped put this bill together. Our clerk, Maureen Hollahan, Sue Quanches, who handles the VA accounts, Sarah Young, who handles military construction, Tracy Russell, who handles everything else, Matt Washington on the Democratic side for his strong interest and leadership, Sean Snyder from my personal staff. So now on to the main event. The funding recommendation before you totals $81.6 billion. Which includes $7.7 billion in military construction funds, $172 million in OCO funds as requested by the President, $73.5 billion for the Department of Veterans Affairs, and $241 million for related agencies in our bill. That's the American Battle Monuments Commission, Arlington National Cemetery, the Armed Forces Retirement Home, and the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. We heard from many of you during this process. We took over 1,000 member requests into account as we wrote the bill and the accompanying report. And we did our best to accommodate member interests and make responsible investments that will serve our constituents. For military construction, this bill supports our troops with facilities and services necessary to maintain readiness and morale at bases here in the States and throughout the world. And it provides for the Department of Defense schools and health clinics that take care of our military families. Family housing is funded at $1.3 billion. DoD schools at $246 million for construction, and also hospital construction at $304 million. We provide $673 million for the Guard and Reserve projects in 21 states. In addition to that, by the way, we've provided an additional $154 million for Guard and Reserve projects from the unfunded priority list. We increased the NATO Security Investment Program to $178 million, which is a 32% increase to deal with increasing threats and necessary investments overseas. We also include $172 million in OCO funding for the European Reassurance Initiative and counterterrorism projects, and that's part of a broader initiative which would be funded largely through the Defense Approps. For Veterans Affairs, discretionary funding for veterans programs in the bill is $73.5 billion, which is a $2.1 billion or 3% above the fiscal year 16 level. This is the highest level of funding ever. For VA medical care, it's funded at $64.1 billion. That's a 5% increase over last year for medical care. That includes an $850 million increase for medical care over the amount that was advance funded last year for fiscal year 17. Many of you requested funding for various programs within the VA, and I want to let you know that we fully funded the budget request for hepatitis C at $1.5 billion, a huge priority for everyone. Veterans homelessness at $1.6 billion. Long-term care at $8.6 billion. Caregiver stipends at $725 million. Office of Inspector General at $160 million. On disability claims, we provide the full request for the VBA, which is a $118 million increase over fiscal year 2016, and the full request for the Board of Veterans Appeals, which is a $46 million increase. Again, many members wanted to see these funding levels realized, so we've done that. On major construction, we continue to focus on major construction oversight, particularly in the post-Denver Aurora world. The bill includes language that will hold back 100% of the funding for the largest construction projects until VA contracts for outside federal management, and we maintain strict restrictions on transfers, use of bid savings, and scope changes. The bill provides $528 million for major construction projects in Reno, Nevada, and Long Beach, California, as well as cemeteries in Florida, New York, and Colorado. Electronic health record, I know a high priority for both the chair of the full committee and the ranking member, and all of us, frankly. We provide funding for the electronic health record and fully support interoperability of the health record between the VA and DOD, but we fence all the funds for the health record until the VA meets milestones and certifies interoperability and to meet statutory requirements. As I said, this is a huge priority for all of us, and also a great source of frustration and anger for many of us, too. Other items. We include bill language regarding improved standards for suicide hotline and certification of mental health therapists to expand access to veterans who need their care. This bill is a solid bipartisan piece of legislation that is focused on the needs of service members, veterans, and their families. We had to balance priorities and figure out needs versus wants, obviously, which is never easy, but is central to our duties as appropriators. No matter how much funding we provide, there are always those who say it's not enough. Given the budget analysis and oversight that we've conducted, I would strongly disagree. In total, the recommendation is $1.7 billion over fiscal year 2016 level, a 2.2% increase. The funding level for the VA is the highest ever. Within the VA recommendation, medical care is funded at $64.1 billion, again, 5% over last year's level for medical care. In military construction, we have taken care of our military with funding for housing, schools, hospitals, and operational mission needs. So once again, I urge you to support this bill. It's a good product, and I thank you for your courtesies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.